All right, so maybe a Gary Vee post convinced you it's time to quit your job. Or maybe you listen to Simon Sinek and Arthur Brooks on how your career should align with your purpose. You're a believer, okay? But you have no practical idea of how to take the next step. Don't worry, you're not alone. And rage quitting isn't the only move. Today, I want to share 3 concrete, maybe a little less dramatic steps you can take right now to start shifting your career towards something you actually care about without burning the bridges. What's up, everybody? I'm JB Bolton. I'm founder of Bolton Co. I'm an executive coach, and I help leaders and ambitious professionals get unstuck, find more impact, and take career moves that matter. So let me walk you through a process that you can own. Step 1, pinpoint what actually gives you life, okay? This is not about kind of vague dreams. It's about what are you really into right now? So you can ask yourself, in the past few weeks, when did you feel really energized? Even if it was just for a moment. What conversation or task made you lose track of time? Another one that I like to use to help people unlock is how do you play? What was consistent in childhood and maybe in your 20s, maybe now in your 30s or 40s that keeps showing up as being life-giving for you? Jot down 5 to 10 themes: mentoring or designing or building a system or fixing something or storytelling or helping people. If you need like something to get you unstuck here, check your content consumption, like books or podcasts or social media for clues, right? What are you really drawn to right now? Gary Vee says you have to figure yourself out as a mental shift. Self-awareness is really foundational to this. And in a recent tea with Gary Vee, he unpacks how aligning your work with your passions allows you to stop settling for good enough. Don't overthink this. Your initial list will be a little bit messy. That is fine. It's a good place to start with. So that's step 1. What are your interests? Step 2, what about mapping your wiring and your natural strengths? Where does your aptitude show up, okay? What do you find easier or more natural than most people do? What gives you flow instead of friction? A good cue, I was talking with a client recently, a good cue on this is it's the kind of thing that people will be like, how do you do that? Or how does that come so easily to you? And it's the thing that you disregard. You're like, what are you talking about? I don't even know. Like, that's unusual to you? Like, I don't know, I just do it. Or I don't know, it just comes natural. Those are strengths of yours. You dismiss them because they come so naturally. When people mention it, you're like, I don't know, it's not a big deal. Solicit feedback, by the way, from 3 to 5 trusted people. Ask them what they see you do exceptionally well. You can reflect on past roles here, right? What task did you volunteer for or consistently perform really well? The other thing I like here is validated psychometric assessments, kind of a step deeper maybe than a survey, but you can use you can use strength finders or what color is your parachute. I like Pro-D, DISC, Myers-Briggs, the Berkman's great, Leadership Circle's great. But look at this data. It's not absolutely necessarily the truth, but if it's a validated psychometric assessment, it's going to be closer to the truth. But we need to go validate that through meaningful conversations with people we know and trust. This is going to give you insight to your aptitude, your unique wiring. This helps you see and begin to see the overlap of your interests and your aptitude to start to point toward what's actually viable. And that overlap is what's going to give us clues about career next right steps. Then there's a third point, and this one gets missed. I've seen a lot of programs that look at interests and aptitude and the overlap. But what about your values? Step 3, clarify your non-negotiable values, your core values. When you look back on moments of, I'll run clients through what we call kind of a peaks or valleys exercise. These moments of stress or frustration or really, really high points, certain values tend to emerge over and over again: autonomy, respect, impact, growth, stability, faith, family. Write 5 to 7 value statements like I need creative ownership, or I won't tolerate micromanagement, or I need to contribute meaningfully. Maybe impact's one of yours, right? And you can kind of rank these if you want in terms of their non-negotiability, but notice which ones you're currently violating every week in your job. That signals some misalignment. So we've got values, we have our passions or our interests, and then we have our unique wiring or design, our aptitude. And what you can do here, rather than just create a flat kind of pros and cons list, build a rubric where you can actually weight each of these dimensions. And then you can rate each option that you consider using this rubric. So as it gets more closely aligned to these things that you've defined, it starts to indicate, as you get a higher score, what the next right step might look like. If you're not sure how to weight these, calibrate it on past experience, on known experience. Think of roles where you're really happy and fulfilled, or roles that were really terrible. And you can use those to calibrate the weighting on this rubric. So you run a few options through the rubric. Even if you think like, I'm stuck in my current role, this helps you see what routes might be possible or what might be hidden. So you don't have to quit tomorrow. You can take kind of a micro step as opposed to a moonshot. You can start shifting inside of your current context. Now, some of you might need to make a big jump, but what about volunteering for a cross-team project that kind of maps into more of your interests, or building a side portfolio of proof work, kind of going, maybe an internal presentation or a little consulting gig on the side? You could ask for small changes in your role, like, hey, could we get some more client contact going or more project ownership? You can network intentionally in the direction that you'd like to go. You can document your results in your rubric and review those quarterly. And then you can take the next right step forward instead of needing to make a jump. There's just a little bit more intentionality and direction to this process. Listen, Simon Sinek warns against the delusion that movement must always be forward. If you're not familiar with it, he proposes this slingshot strategy that suggests that a short detour or a pause can actually ultimately propel you further forward. I would argue further that sometimes what you perceive to be a detour or a pause is actually a step in the right direction. There might be a component of that, maybe title or maybe compensation or something like that feel like a detour or a pause, but it might be directionally accurate or get you closer to the next right step. Hey, also in his article, Red Flags for Knowing When It's Time to Quit, he reminds us that true toxicity, like crossing these non-negotiable values lines or environments that are blocking growth, those kinds of things are legitimate reasons to plan an exit, but only when you've built enough runway. So you can use something like this rubric to guide you, and as opposed to just kind of feelings alone or emotions alone or a pros and cons list. Hey, if this feels like too much to do alone, that's exactly why I built the Career Clarity Collective at Bolton Co. In the collective, we work together to build your rubric. We interpret your wiring, we map these next steps, and we keep you accountable so you don't default back to staying stuck. So if you're ready to move from just believing that something needs to happen to actually doing something, I want to invite you to join us. Go to boltonco.net/career to learn more and to apply. You deserve a career that you don't dread. And this is how you start doing something real about it, step by step.